my name is Delaney Schlesinger-Devlin, and today I'm here in South Hall with our professor of French language and culture.
Cary, Campbell, hi. So I've been a professor here. What I'm supposed to give my title? Oh, wow. So it's assistant professor of French, but really my PhD training is in West African literature written in French. I did a master's that straddled linguistics and literature and a BA with a double major, so linguistics and French. I've been here since 2013, so that's 10 years now.
Could you define
Sure.
Francophone is? We both know what that is.
Yeah, and here's the weird thing. There's
like so many definitions.
No, but there's only really one. Everybody knows what it means, but it's inflected differently depending on where you're from. So, technically the word means French speaker, French, someone that understands French. And France had a colonial setup pretty much as broad as Britain's. I mean, if you want to compare sizes of colonies, that's one thing. But, Lebanon, parts of Egypt, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Tahiti, New Caledonia, Quebec, a lot of the Antillean Islands, Haiti, although there's a Creole that also was adapted there. Martinique, Guadeloupe, and did I mention Quebec already from North America? Louisiana was a big pole. Maine had a large settlement of French, and pretty much 50% of Africa, from the two republics of Congo to Senegal, Algeria. A lot of countries around the world had former French colonies. So when the French say Francophone, they use it as a distinctive marker. They say, we're French, they're Francophone. To kind of show a derivativeness to everyone else, right? But having grown up in Canada, I always thought Francophone just meant anyone that understood French. So, hey, you French people, you're Francophone too. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to insult you. You're the pure thing. Okay, I get it, right? They know that people are allowed to have their attitudes.
I know. Well, now we can this is what you take 302 for to talk about. Right. It's what is it? Oh my God, root at the French at the root. Français de sèche? What is it?
Français de la rue? De souche.
De souche. This is what you take 302 for, right. To get into those ideas. So, yeah.
But cool things about Francophone. It's all around the world. Maybe let me condense it into one tidbit. So about 600 million people speak French. Not all of them is very few of them is that their first language. Mm-hmm. But North American couples are having an average of less than 2 children per couple. European couples are having less than an average of 2 children per couple. Asian families are having an average of less than 2 children per couple. Where is demography taking us 50 years from now in a couple generations? Populations there are shrinking. Africa is growing. If Africa has that connection to French still, which is up in the air in some countries, they feel like they want to return to their roots and knock that colonial past completely out if they can. Others feel like French is the only unifying force between their diverse landscapes, so they're keeping it. But the future is going to belong to Africa.
What are the topics that you like to either teach about or learn about in Francophone culture? And did you have anything that's really specific?
Yeah, so I was fortunate. I kind of picked a dissertation topic and researched it deeply for the dissertation that I knew I could carry on past the dissertation's publication. And so we've already mentioned, I grew up in Canada. I've got lots of experience learning and teaching here in the States and living here in the States. And so comparing between those two cultures seemed natural to me. But when I was in Côte d'Ivoire, there was a kind of a flashpoint time that I happened to live through. It just chanced that it happened while I was there. And that is, there was the country's first multi-party election. And this might seem like a normal thing for us who've had a tradition of multi-party elections, although a lot of people are not really happy with the binary choice that is kind of all that's on offer anymore. Imagine not having anything but one party. For 40 years of your independence, democracy looks to you like, oh, I get to vote for this guy or not vote at all. There's only one choice. I won't go into the whole geopolitics of it, but the investment that the Ivorians had in what it meant to be Ivorian, and the reason there were multi-parties, some of which, maybe I do need a little geopolitics for this, but no, the local politics there are sufficient. There was a handpicked successor of a longtime dictator that had his first actual electoral challenge from another party, and his first move was to say, oh, well, this person's giving me a run for my money. I think we need a new rule in the Constitution. Let's make sure that the only people eligible for the presidency have 2 Ivorian parents. And this person didn't have it. Oopsie daisy. Now I don't really have a real threat to my next presidency. No problem, right? On the surface, that looks like just regular corruption. But when you think about what it means to belong to a nation, we have this kind of, I don't know, whether you like it or dislike it, there's a melting pot sort of symbol that we talk about in the U.S. In Canada, I learned that we are not American.
Isn't it a mosaic?
Yeah, they taught us that we're the cultural mosaic. So you get to keep who you are instead of melting into this thing that gives up your essence. There, they were even more concerned about who was and who was not Ivorian, and who counted and who didn't for their elections, and what rights came with their citizenship. And but all of it is based on imposed borders. It wasn't Ivorians that decided on the ground to negotiate between themselves where each border lied. It was European powers descending from above, setting up their own state, defending territory to pull out resources, and pretty much only to pull out resources. It was a colonial imposition. And that put together groups that maybe would have preferred to stay apart, or separated groups that maybe would have preferred to stay together. What does this nation thing mean to a country like that with vast ethnic, linguistic, cultural diversity, with imposed borders, and with a state that is tooled for favoritism? How do you navigate becoming a nation? How do you teach your citizens, no, we're all in this together? And that question of how do you do that? Why is it so different? Really struck me. As I was reading, this question of what is nationality and what is nationalism, paired with a sort of literary question to me, and that is, the more I read African novels, the more I realized almost every single one of these has some kind of allegory baked into it that expresses how they feel their nation's shape is or should be, or is problematically, et cetera, et cetera. And so I took a look at several swaths and several different kinds of authors from recent, all there is recent. When I say recent, 1960 and beyond, because that's when Côte d'Ivoire got its independence. But I took a look at novels from this period and lifted out some of the elements of how authors imagined their nation to be in tension, or right in this way or wrong in that way, or just symbolized what's actually going on in their country through fictional means. And I'm still engaged in that. It's just I'm branching out beyond the Côte d'Ivoire. And so, I've been doing a lot of looking at Senegalese authors. I've been working a little bit. I'm currently working on a Ghanaian author. Not a Ghanaian author, excuse me, a Malian author, Guinean also. And I've also done some recent work with some transnational folks, people like Alama Bonkou, not so much Kalik Tbiala, but anyway, there are a growing number of authors who write in French, but who consider themselves African, but live primarily in France, in the U.S., elsewhere. And so, how do they describe what sense of nation they have, or what sense of belonging to a nation they have, whether it be French, whether it be something else, whether it be international. So anyway, I've rambled a little. I hope that gives a flavor.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really invested in this type of work and like investigating it. So that's cool. I hope you're into it. I hope it's a good vibe.